I met a gypsy.
We were driving to the San Diego airport once when we went and did that rally school. And
Dirtfish.
that was fucking loose. You got me so messed up on that plane.
Don't blame me, mate.
All right. I got so drunk on that plane at your...
Because you can't hang.
Yeah, I can't hang, man. We were drunk at Chili's before it. We almost missed the flight.
See, I can't remember stuff.
I was.
I can't remember that stuff.
But I remember being in the car and we left your joint and I was like, oh, I chucked some music on. And you were like, oh, I don't like to listen to music in the car. And I was like, why? And you're like, oh, because there's just so much noise. Like, there's just noise all the time. And you're like, I like to get in the car and not have as much noise. Because he's like, you said, like, if you just think about how much that music, you've already got the road noise, you've already got someone talking in, then you add that, that music going to your ears, then it's like, that's extra noise that you're just creating for your brain to deal with. And you're like, let's just chill. And I was like, I'd never really had someone say like that. And I was like, oh, it makes sense. And like, yeah, you could look at it from like that's a kooky thing angle, or you could really think about it.
It depends where you're at in life too. Like, it's not like all the time I drive along quiet, but sometimes I need it. I live, especially when you're traveling, like in people's face all the time, I always have that contact and the interaction. Sometimes I just need
You've always got to be Robbie Maddison.
Yeah, I got to let my thoughts I need to spend time with my thoughts, or I want to turn my thoughts off and I just want to stay present, and there's times where driving's a great way to stay present because you stay aware of the breath in and the breath out, and I've been at times where I'm meditating driving and I'm like watching my hands move and I'm like laughing at myself because I'm like, I'm just letting my body kind of do its thing, and I'm just sitting back watching my hands move and just kind of laughing at myself changing gears. I'm like, I have that, I can disconnect that little bit, and that's it's something that's profound, and you can get there riding mountain bikes. You can do it. I mean, there's one thing to like go for a workout and be like, oh, I'm puffed now, I'm going to get off and stop, or you can be like, I'm puffed, I'm just going to slow it down a little bit, focus on my breathing, I'm going to get through this, and you keep chugging away, and then you can kind of get into this rhythm where you're like, with your breathing, with your muscles, you're breathing energy and life into those muscles, and then and then the trains, and then that's where you start really getting your endurance from, and that's health, man. Like, it's that's where it comes from. And hey, I'm not saying that I'm the healthiest guy on the planet, that's for sure, but
you're super mindful though
of
yourself.
Of those things. And I do it all. It's like I keep the balance, but I've just come off a year off with some gnarly injuries, and I had to wait 12 months before I could get surgery. I only had it 8 weeks ago, and I've been cycling and stuff again. I'm back in the pool swimming, and I'm stoked that I'm back because I was getting in a really messed up mental state just because I wasn't able to work out. I had a destroyed knee, my shoulder kept dislocating, and it plays a toll on you. I feel sorry for those people who are eating a lot of sugar, not moving daily, not getting the heart rate up because they're not releasing endorphins, and they don't know the
positives it can have.
Yeah, and just the energy. Like, I go work out to the gym, man, drive home, it's like just pumped.
Yeah, you like work out to get energy.
Yeah, and it just makes you happy, and you just drive along just stoked like a little kid again, just pumped for no reason.
I always say, me and Todd went surfing the other day, and we got up at like 4:30 in the morning. We got out and we surfed for like 2 hours, and you got out, and I'm fucked, man. Like, I was so tired from it, but it's such a good, like, you're so exhausted physically, but mentally you feel like you had so much more energy. So it's like it's like a weird surf tired's like a weird kind of tired because you're exhausted physically, but you just have such a fresh feeling of like, you feel like a new person even though you've just torched yourself on a water treadmill for 2 hours.
It's a big workout, it's paddling, huh?
Yeah, but like there's something that happens in your brain where you feel so good. And I was talking to my Uncle Glenn about mountain biking, and where you're saying like you sort of just get in that flow state and whatever. Like, what do I think with mountain biking and motocross and why it's so appealing, and I think there is this thought with people in action sports or like that are doing skateboarding or mountain biking or motocross. It's like that dumb daredevil that doesn't have any brain, so that's why they can do what they do. But I think it's so much deeper, especially with guys like you on your extreme end. Is like when we mountain biked this trail at Cairns Cliftons, and it's really tight. It's a lot of trees, a lot of roots. Like, you
just stay focused.
Yeah, you're in the moment. Yeah, you can't
be thinking about what you're going to do when you get home.
No.
So and I know what you're saying. Else.
There's nothing else to. So when
you have to keep your mind on the job. But so where are you going with this? I've realized this too. And it's meditation, right?
It is.
You have to stay so in the moment because there's so much shit going on. Your mind can't wander. So you're just like boom, 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 and so if you get to the trailhead and you got a bunch of shit on your plate, you know, and you're like stressed out, you drop in, all of a sudden you haven't got time to even think about that. Now it's just like it's life and death, and so you're just in the zone, and then you come out the bottom, you're like, you just had like however long, say it takes 2 minutes from the top to the bottom,
but
you just had 2 minutes
everything.
And you had 2 minutes without that, you know, the prefrontal cortex there doing its thing and just reminding you of all this shit, and you're playing that monotonous voice you got inside your head. All of a sudden that's turned off, you got a break from it, and at the bottom you're like, I feel awesome, that was just so awesome, and you got a break from that. And that's what I had to do. I had to be able to do that with nothing going on, to be able to make that strong, that mechanism strong. So when I'm sitting on top of a building and you got, you know, ABC's live cameras on you and there's 300,000 people looking at you, there's no other thoughts. I'm not thinking about anything to do with those people. It's just that I'm aware that they're there, but I'm so in the moment at that point, and that's a very powerful tool, and so I use that all the time now, you know, and I use it whenever my thoughts getting me messed up. Like I always come back to knowing that I can turn it off and do my breathing, and my breathing's my recalibration stuff. And
because were you doing a bit of Wim Hof stuff?
A lot, yeah.
Are you still doing a lot of that?
I am. I didn't do it. I didn't do it much last year just because I was in a bit of a funk just because of my injury, and I'm not in a situation where I can get away from the family. So I've always got the kids there, and not that I'm not trying to make an excuse here, because I probably could have done it, but
no, I
just didn't. I mean, it was a bit of a balancing. It's a lot easier for me to stick to a routine when the pressure's on, when I know that I've got to make something, like do something that I've committed to. And
pressure makes diamonds, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. But I do my breathing every night. And yeah, it was funny the other day. It was like super cold. I forget where I was. I was back in Cali, and it was middle of winter, and I had someone at my house. I traveled with someone. We got back to my house, and because I'd been gone for a few months, the power was out, so we had no hot water, and
no heating, so the house is freezing.
Yeah, well, not so much that, but we got home and it was time to have a shower. No, the gas ran out overnight. So I think that the night before we had a hot tub choose a bunch of gas. And so in the morning they had no gas. And so I turned the shower on, and first thing in the morning it's like freezing cold. And I was like it was icicles, right? And then pretty soon I realized, we've got no hot water. I'm butt naked. So I'm like, well, here goes the breathing. So I just do a little couple of primers, jump in, I just focus on my breathing, and within 20 seconds, like, the cold water's not even bothering me. And so I just had this like really cool freezing cold shower, and still wash my hair and still under it. And when you do the breathing, like, and people will know who've done the Wim Hof stuff, it just all of a sudden the cold doesn't affect you. So anyway, I have this shower, get out, dry off, and I just feel buzzed. I feel great, you know. And my buddy's like, dude, did you have a shower this morning? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, was it cold? And I was like, freezing. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I just stood. I said, how'd you shower? You going under? He goes, no, I just stood there and splashed myself. And I'm like, oh, you missed out, man. I said, I just stood under it and had it. He's like, you're a nutcase. And I'm like, I'm
just hacking.
I'm ready for it. But what I realized that day, that's the first time I'd really had a freezing cold shower. And at 3:00 in the afternoon, I still felt just charged up. So there
is a power in it.
Oh, man.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.